Hello everyone, Prince back again from Aussizz Group Brisbane office. I've got along with me my colleague Ashwinder.
Hi everyone.
So guys, we're doing this video today for temporary graduate visa. First of all, I would like to congratulate all of you guys who have completed the studies recently. So many congratulations to you. And for those who are still awaiting the results, all the best to you guys. So let's get started for 485 temporary graduate visa. What this visa is about, who are the people who can apply for this visa, what are the requirements to apply for this visa, and how you can achieve your permanent residency in the near future once you get onto this visa. So guys, I've got on board three different tables. The first table, I've got the requirements, and there are two streams which comes on the temporary graduate visa, which is graduate work stream that represents GWS of the board, and post-study work stream, which is PSW. So in terms of requirements, the first requirement is you must complete minimum 2 years of Australian qualification. You must get the competent English score. Competent is in you need minimum 6 overall score with minimum 5 in each module. And you need an AFP, which is Australian Federal Police Check. And you need health insurance as well. So even if you're on OHSC, you can still apply for your temporary graduate visa, and you need to get your health examination done. So in a nutshell, these are the 5 main requirements you need to consider. Study requirement, 2 years, English, AFP, health examination, and health insurance. So that's the main requirement to apply for a temporary graduate visa. Now, before I go any further, I just want to double check with Ashwinder. Is there any particular question you have in your mind which you get asked from your clients in regards to the eligibility of 485 visa?
Yes, Prince. Actually, I just want everyone to know what is the validity of English score.
Okay, that's a very common question, guys, we get asked because most of the people have appeared for PT, and on the score report or the report card by itself, it says that it's valid for 2 years. However, I want to make sure that all of you guys are aware of this thing, that the validity of English score is for 3 years, even though it says 2 years on the card by itself, but for immigration purposes, it's valid for 3 years. So if you have appeared for the test in the last 3 years, you're all good to go.
Another question, Prince. When do a person needs to apply for Australian Federal Police clearance?
Alright, that's again a very common mistake. What I have seen a lot of graduates who apply for the visa on their own. And look, I don't mind if you apply a visa on your own, it's pretty straightforward, but again at the same time, it's very easy for you to make a mistake because Australian Federal Police Check is something that can lead to a visa refusal. Make sure you have applied for an Australian Federal Police Check a day before you lodge your 485 application. So just to give you an example, if you try to lodge, if your visa is expiring today and if you apply for an Australian Federal Police Check today, you will not be able to lodge your 485 visa application because the system or the EMI account by itself will not allow you to lodge the visa application. So in that case, obviously see a professional advice. Do not try to do anything on your own. That may increases the risk of visa refusal.
Another question, if a person is on OHSC, do they have to buy another health insurance for 485 visa purpose?
Right, again, thank you so much for the question again, Ashwinder. This is again an important thing that you need to keep in mind, that being an international student, if you're applying for a 485 visa or a temporary graduate visa, you're supposed to hold on to your health insurance or private health insurance all the way through. Even if you're on a bridging visa or even after you get the grant of 485 visa, you need to hold the health insurance. But in terms of lodging the visa, you can apply the visa on the basis of your OSHC. But say in case if your OSHC expires next week, make sure you get OVHC before your OSHC expires. So that's important to know because sometimes we have seen the case officer coming back to the applicant and asking for the evidence for health insurance. And in case if the student doesn't hold their current health insurance, that may lead to a visa refusal. So it's a very important thing that needs to be kept in mind.
Another question, Prince, last one. When do a person needs to get their health examination done?
Right, so health examination, it's not a mandatory criteria that you need at the time of application. Even though you have lodged the application, while during the processing of the application, you can appear for the health examination, get it done. All the medical outcome medical reports can be sent to the Department of Home Affairs directly from Hooper. So this is not something that you have to do prior. That can be done during the application, or sometimes case officer do request the applicant to provide the health examination.
Thank you, Prince.
I think that's pretty much it. These are the common questions I think we accumulated to make sure that all of you guys get aware of the requirements of 485 visa. Moving on forward, I'll be discussing about graduate work stream, which is the GWS. So this visa category is basic. So this is one of the stream under 485 visa. Graduate work stream is for those applicants who have completed certificate or trade level qualification like Cert 3, Cert 4 or Diploma. If you have completed any of these qualifications, you can only apply for graduate work stream category. Now, in order for you to apply for this category under 485 visa, you must need a provisional skills assessment. Yes, it is mandatory. Without getting a provisional skills assessment, you cannot apply for this particular visa. Now, in terms of which occupation you need to pick, make sure the provisional skill assessment must be related to the occupation which sits on MLTSSL list. So long-term list. So your occupation must be on a long-term list, then only you can get a provisional skill assessment and apply for this visa. So it's all interconnected. Make sure, just to give you a quick example, for example, if anybody has completed Cert 3 of commercial cookery for 2 years, and if they want to apply for 485 visa on the basis of that qualification, if they go to TRA for the provisional skills assessment, if they get a skills assessment as a cook, however, it's not going to work because cook occupation falls under short-term list. Now, if it's on the short-term list, you do not meet the requirement of graduate work stream. So that occupation must be on a long-term list. Vice versa, if you would have done the same for chef, like completing Cert 3 and Cert 4 for 2 years, and applied as a chef to TRA for provisional skills assessment, chef as in it falls under long-term list, you are eligible to apply for 485 temporary graduate visa under graduate work stream. So it's important for you to know which occupation you are picking up and which category you're applying for. Moving on forward, a lot of applicants ask me this question that I have been on a 485 visa for last 18 months or a year or so. I've been living in Gold Coast or Sunshine Coast or Toowoomba. I have completed my studies from regional. Can I apply for 485 extension? Unfortunately, 485 extension is only available to those applicants who have completed bachelor's or higher qualification. It's very important for those applicants who are still in a hope that if their 485 is about to expire, they can apply for an extension, because I've come across few applicants where they thought they can apply for an extension, but unfortunately you are not eligible because it only applies to bachelor's or higher qualification applicants. So I guess pretty much all clear for the graduate work stream. Any other question you can think of under this category?
No, that's fine. I think it's clear.
Alright, great. One last thing I forgot to mention before, guys, that this visa under graduate work stream category, it can be only granted for 18 months, as I mentioned on the board. For bachelor's, it's even more time, but for graduate, like trade qualifications or Cert 3, Cert 4 or diploma qualification, it can only be granted for 18 months. So the day you get your temporary graduate visa for 18 months, obviously your time starts ticking. So you have got 18 months to be eligible to apply for permanent residency or make yourself eligible to apply for permanent residency. So make sure, do not waste your time on temporary graduate visa. Once you get it, you cannot apply for another or secondary 485 visa. So let's move on forward. I'm going to talk about the post-study work stream. Guys, I hope this video may be helpful for you. If you find this video helpful, do share with your friends or someone who you can think of could get some benefit out of this video. So moving on further, for anybody who has completed bachelor's or higher qualification, they're eligible to apply for post-study work stream. Now, the best part of this is that you obviously do not need any provisional skills assessment. You just complete your study, you can straight away go to the department and apply for 485 visa as long as you're meeting all the requirements in the first study group. Now, this visa, the beauty about this visa, depending whether you've done bachelor's, master's or PhD, it can vary from 24 to 48 months. So if you've completed a bachelor's or master's, you get a visa grant for 24 months. But if you completed a master's by research, you will be granted a visa for 36 months. And if you completed a PhD, it will be granted for 4 years. So different categories, depending which category you fall under, it can be extended from 24 to 48 months. Moving on forward, the best part again, I will mention just before that if you have completed your studies in regional area and you've been granted a visa, 485 visa for 2 years, if you have stayed and lived, if you've stayed, worked and lived in that particular region or a regional area all the way through while you were on 485 visa, you can apply for another 485 visa as well, as long as you have completed it. So there are three things you have to look into. You have completed your studies from regional area, you got grant for 2 years, then you lived and stayed, you lived and worked and studied in regional area all the way through on your 485 visa. If you meet all these three requirements, you're eligible to apply for 485 visa extension. for a year or two, depends whether you're which regional area you're living in. For example, if you're living in Gold Coast or Sunshine Coast, you can apply for 1 year extension, and if you're in Toowoomba, you can apply for 2 year extensions. That goes same for Rockhampton, Townsville, Cairns. If you're in these areas, you can apply for another 2 years. Now, for those of the applicants who are watching this video from other states, you have to check the postcodes requirement on the Department of Home Affairs list. See which region your particular city falls under. You may be eligible for 1 year or 2 years visa. So I guess that's all I wanted to cover for temporary graduate visa. We are going to talk about the PR pathway, once you're on a 485 visa, what are the ways how you can get permanent residency. So let's continue forward, and I'm going to discuss all about that. But before I move on to the next section, Ashwinda, do you think we have any other questions which we get commonly asked from the applicants, where it's pretty common for those clients to get confused before they apply for 485 visa?
Yes, Prince. Mostly the questions we have are related to regional study. I'll discuss a scenario. If somebody has done 2 subjects in a college in Brisbane or university in Brisbane, but the remaining 14 subjects that person has done in Gold Coast, or let's say Sunshine Coast, or any other regional Queensland area, so will that study will be considered as a regional study or not?
Right, that's a very good question, Ashwinda, because I have seen a lot of applicants making a mistake. They feel that, okay, well, if they have spent most of their time of their study in regional area, they are eligible for 485 extension or maybe 5 points for the regional study. Unfortunately, none of these cases apply to you, because the requirement for applying for 485 visa extension and to claim 5 points for study is that you must have completed 100% of your study or all the way through or in regional area from the university. So if anybody has done 15 subjects from regional and they've done 1 subject from Brisbane, it doesn't match the requirement for the extension. But in terms of applying for 485 visa, yes, because the requirement to apply for 485 visa is 2 years study. It's not like, regardless whether you completed 5 subjects from Brisbane and another subject, another remaining subjects from regional, as long as you completed 2 years study, you can apply for 485 visa. But in terms of extension and claiming points, we have to look at the perspective how and where you completed all those subjects. I hope that answers the question.
Yes, please. Thank you very much.
Alright, that's pretty much it. Alright guys, let's move on to the next topic, and let's see how you get eligible to apply for permanent residency. Alright, so there we are. I've got on this board, as you can clearly see, trade qualification and general study, or general qualification are meant to write down. So let's start off with the trade skills assessment or trade qualification. So any of those applicants who have completed certificate level, diploma level qualification, majority of those applicants comes under trade qualification. So in order for you to apply for, first of all, 485 visa, or I think we have already discussed about provisional skills assessment, but in terms of PR pathway, you cannot use the provisional skills assessment. You need a full skills assessment. Now, in order for a person from trade background to get a skills assessment, there are 2 ways. Either they can do a JRP, which is a job ready program, or they must have minimum 3 years of full-time work experience. Now, before I go in detail about these 2 particular categories, I want to let everybody of you know that skill assessment is something which is mandatory to apply for permanent residency in Australia. I have seen a lot of applicants coming to me and saying that, okay sir, I've completed my qualification from Brisbane, I want to move to Tasmania so I can apply for 491. Or people are coming to me about the small business owner stream, which is 491 visa in Queensland. They feel that, okay, well, if they invest $100,000 in a business, they can straight away buy a business and apply for 491 visa. I want to make it very clear to all of you guys that if you do not have a skills assessment under your belt, you cannot apply for permanent residency in Australia, regardless we are talking about 491, 190 or 189. So skill assessment is like a heart of the application. So if you do not have skill assessment, no further way to go. So keep in mind, so that's the reason why I'm picking up the ways how you can get a skills assessment. So getting back onto the same topic, for trade qualification, job ready program and 3 years of full-time work experience. Now, job ready program, it's a 4-step process. And Ashwinda, if you want to give some information regarding 4 steps of job ready program, that would be good, please.
Yeah, the step 1 is provisional skill assessment, which you usually do before you apply for a visa. The next steps comes after that. Once you have PSA outcome, provisional skill assessment outcome, then you go for the second step, that is job ready employment. After completing that one, then you apply for job ready work assessment. That's the third step. And the fourth step is job ready final assessment. To reach up to that step, you have to work full time for 1 year, complete 1 year, that's 12 months, and you have to finish 1725 hours in totality from second step till fourth step. Then you will be eligible the fourth one to apply for. Thank you.
Thanks, Ashwinder. One more thing I want to ask you, because you've been obviously communicating with a lot of people who send us the documents. They have been complaining that usually it takes about a year to complete the job ready program, but there has been some delay from TRA. So, what would you think that what could be the reason for this delay from TRA? And obviously, I can cover up what they can do during that time until they get the final assessment. But why do you think there is a delay for this process for job ready program?
See, the delay usually happens from the client's perspective. So the thing is, if you're working under one employer throughout the time period of 12 months, I can bet that you can finish the program within 12 or 12 and a half months. But if you change your employer and you don't let your agent know, or you don't do the steps on your own on the time in the time frame, then that gets delayed. It can get delayed for a month, for 2 months, depends how many employees you're changing throughout the process, and you're providing the documents on time or not, you're applying for the steps on time or not. All these factors have to be considered. If you're doing the process smoothly and going through one employer throughout the process, you can complete it in 12 or 12 and a half months at max.
Alright, great. Thank you, Shwinder. So guys, make sure if you change your employer, or if there is any circumstances, in case for some reason your employment gets cut down to say part-time from full-time, any changes like that, make sure you notify TRA, let your migration agent know to update your portal details with TRA. As long as TRA is up to date what's an applicant is doing, we are quite confident that you can complete your job ready program within 12 to 13 months. But we have seen some delays from other applicants where they did not do the right thing from the beginning, and they expected TRA to know automatically that they didn't know that they had to notify TRA, and they expected, like, they were complaining about TRA that they didn't complete the job ready program on time. So keep in mind, any changes, let TRA know, because you do not want to disappoint TRA, or TRA doesn't want to disappoint you, because at the end of the day, it's the assessment body who wants to get your skills assessed as soon as possible, so that they can serve the other applicants in the queue. So the next option was 3 years of full-time work experience. So if you do not, like, for example, if you haven't done job ready program, and if you think that you have got 3 years of full-time work experience and you've got the relevant qualification, you may be eligible to apply for direct skills assessment as well. So it's not mandatory that you must have completed only job ready program. There is another way to get skills assessment done from TRA as well. And it's not only TRA, I mean to say it's Trade Recognition Australia, that's the name of the assessment body. However, there are other bodies who assess the skills for trade qualification, like Aussizz, and there is another new assessment body which is ATTC. But again, get in touch with us. Our team is here to help you with all of your questions, and we can assist you for your skills assessment. But my personal advice to all of you, do not take any risk for your skills assessment. If you muck up your skills assessment, you are going to putting your future at risk. I can tell you right now, make sure you follow the right step, follow the right guidance, follow the right pathway, so you can get your skill assessment without any hassle, which is something mandatory you need for your permanent residency. Now, once you complete your skills assessment, there are ways you can apply for state sponsorship. So when we talk about state sponsorship, I'm talking about 190 visa or 491 visa. Some people may be eligible for 189 visa, which is skilled independent visa, but nowadays the trend we have seen from the department, we haven't been getting a lot of invitation for 189. So a lot of people, all the applicants are shifting or moving towards 190 or 491 visa. That's why I specifically mentioned that you get eligible to apply for state sponsorship visa. Coming back to my same topic before, make sure you cannot be eligible for state sponsorship until you get skills assessment. So you cannot skip this part. This is mandatory. So even if you want to apply for SBOs, Tasmanian state sponsorship, Adelaide state sponsorship, anything like that, this is still required. So keep that in mind. So you get eligible for state sponsorship. The other way to apply for permanent residency, you can look for a pathway under employer sponsored visa. So for employer sponsored visa, you need an employer to sponsor you. The visas you can apply for could be 407 visa, 482 visa, and 186 visa or 494 visa. I'm not going to go in detail about these particular visa categories, what are the requirements. If you have any question or if you want to check your eligibility, get in touch with our team. We are here to assist you. We have office in Brisbane, Mount and Gold Coast. And if you're watching this video from other state, make sure you get in touch with your nearest Aussizz office. So guys, let's move on forward regarding general study. We have already spoken about the trade occupation. With general occupation, the most common occupation I've considered IT, engineering, nursing, accounting, and general occupation. So if you have got a profession which is not listed in any of these 4 categories, you come here under general occupation. Most of the occupation, I wouldn't say all of them, but most of the occupation comes under general occupation. For IT, you have to get the skills assessment done from ACS, which is Australian Computer Society. And again, there are ways how you can get your skills assessment done, which I will be talking about with Ashwinder regarding the skills assessment from ACS or any of these authorities. For engineering, you have to get it done from Engineers Australia. For nursing, you have to get nursing is a 2-stage process. So you have to get a registration from APRA first. Once you get a registration, you go to ANMAC for your skill assessment. ANMAC is the skill assessment body for nursing background people. So ANMAC for nursing, accounting, you can go to CPA. There are 2 or 3 different authorities from accounting background. If you want to get skill assessment, you can go to CPA or CANZ, and there's another authority as well. But pretty much you can choose any of these 3 authorities to get the skill assessment done. Now, most of the other occupations falls under general occupation. All those occupation comes under VEDASES. So VEDASES is one of the skill assessment body who do a lot of general occupations. For example, recruitment consultant, restaurant manager, and HR advisor. There's so many occupations I can think of, but I can't go in detail about all the occupation. If you want to know that which occupation or which assessment body you have to go to get your skills assessment done, again, get in touch with us or get in touch with your migration agent. Or if you have any doubt, send us an email at brisbane@aussizz.com. We are more than happy to assist you. So moving on further, again, once you get the skills assessment, we are eligible for state sponsorship, 189, 190 or 491, 189 independent, 190 and 491 state-related visas. If you're not eligible for state sponsorship, look for employer-sponsored visa category. Now, employer-sponsored visa category, it's very important for all of you to understand, because I want to add on this point that you must have minimum 1 to 3 years of experience. So if you have 1 year of experience, there are certain visas you can apply. If you've got 2 years of experience, it's a different visa we advise you to apply for. If you've got 3 years of visa, you may look for another option. But it can be very complicated if you try to do it on your own. I'm not saying that you have to come to us. Get in touch with your migration agent or your company if they are confident enough to do the visa process on their own. But personal opinion, it's not something that, straightforward that you should try on your own. Get a professional advice. And in case if you're not satisfied with my migration agent, get in touch with us. I can assure you, you will get the 100% accurate answer. The reason why we're confident 100%, because we believe what we say. If we do not know the answer, we're not going to give you the answer either. So as long as we are not confident, we can't be confident for the answer we have given it to you. So make sure, whoever you're seeking the advice from, make sure you are confident with your migration agent or the person you're relying on. So I guess that's pretty much it for the temporary graduate visa, guys. We're going to do another video about the state sponsorship. I think we have got Victoria, Western Australia, and maybe I think Victoria, Western Australia, like the 4 states which are open. We're going to do another video on. So we got Victoria, Western Australia, South Australia, and there's Tasmania as well. So we're going to do another video for 4 states regarding the requirement of state sponsorship. So if you want to see that video, obviously, just keep an eye on our Facebook page. I'm sure you're going to get a lot of information from those videos. In the near future, when Queensland State nomination open, we're going to do another video for Queensland State sponsorship as well. So we're trying our best to give as much as information out there to the applicants, so that you guys are aware that, okay, what's happening in the migration industry. Before I leave, guys, for all of you, a most important message from my end. This is the best time for you to get Australian permanent residency while the borders are shut. So you need to understand this thing well, that the government has taken a hard decision that they've closed the border and they're not entertaining any applicant from overseas at the moment. So it's a golden or a diamond opportunity for you while you're onshore to secure your permanent residency. If you think that you're not getting where you want to be, get in touch with us. You may not know that you have an option sitting there and waiting for you, and you do not even know about that option. Get in touch with us and we will find the best solution for you. So guys, I think that would be enough. Shweta, do you have any question in regards to any of the information we have just discussed?
Yeah, Prince, before we wrap up today, I have one question. If somebody has applied for 485 and we know that 485 is taking around 6 to 9 months to get grant, in that time frame, in that 6 to 9 months, what should a student do to get his permanent residency secured?
Well, that's a good question, because as I mentioned in the video before, that you have to make yourself prepared as soon as possible. The moment you finish your study, that's the time when you have to start thinking fast, how do you make yourself eligible for permanent residency. Depending on what background you're from and what your qualification is, what your experience is, if you are from a trade qualification, my suggestion is to start the Job Ready program ASAP. That's the first thing. If you are from an IT, engineering or accounting background, depending whether you want to do the professional year or not, I would still recommend to get enrolled in, to apply for a temporary graduate visa, because the benefit of that is once you get the bridging visa A granted, you get eligible to be enrolled in professional year. Because a lot of, I think, professional year providers do not allow the applicants to start the professional year until they've applied for 485 visa. So the moment they apply for 485 visa, they get bridging visa A granted, they can start working on their professional year. And the benefit of starting professional year earlier would be the sooner you start the professional year program, the sooner you can get your skills assessment done. And the sooner you have your skills assessment, you are not going to compete with other applicants who are in the pipeline, because if you delay for another 6 months, you're going to compete with other lot of students coming out of the university. So as I said, you got to play smart. You have to do things as quick as possible. That's my recommendation. Utilize the time frame of bridging visa A or 485 as soon as possible.
Thank you very much, Prince.
Alright, great. So guys, I hope we have covered a lot of questions and most of the information what we thought may be useful for you. In case if we have missed anything, do leave your comments in the feedback. We will try to cover up those questions in our next video. And just stay tuned. We're going to put another video very soon for the state sponsorship. And till that time, all the best guys and best wishes. Thank you.
Thank you very much.